Our movie today tells the story of a mammoth hunter who's forced to set out on a long, dangerous journey to save his tribe and the woman he loves after they're kidnapped. But the journey is anything but easy. He must face off against ancient beasts and battle a ruthless ruler who brings death to entire peoples. So come along and see what unfolds in this epic adventure. The story takes place in a time thousands of years before Christ, centering on a tribe of mammoth hunters called the Yagahl. They've been struggling to survive, as mammoth hunting has become increasingly rare and difficult. These creatures are their lifeline, providing meat, bones, and fur. But trekking through mountains and valleys in search of food has become nearly impossible. To cope with this crisis, the tribe's elder, known as the Great Mother, performs nightly rituals to seek a sign. One day, that sign comes. The tribe finds a young girl with piercing blue eyes named Evolet. When the Great Mother touches her, she sees a vision from Evolet's past. Her family and people were slaughtered and taken by raiders known as the four-legged demons. The elder then predicts that these same raiders will one day attack their valley on the tribe's final mammoth hunt. But she reassures the people, a warrior will rise to save them. He will be their leader and Evolet's true love. Not everyone believes the prophecy, though. One of the tribe's elders, Tik-Tik, thinks differently. He sets out to find a better land for his people, taking with him a sacred bone and entrusting his friend with a holy white spear, asking him to protect his young son, Dlé. Dlé grows up facing bullying from other boys, especially a rival named Karin, who mocks him for being the son of a man who abandoned the tribe. Feeling like an outcast, Dlé starts keeping to himself. But he finds comfort in Evolet, who spends time with him and clearly has feelings for him. One night, while they sit under the stars, Dlé points out a star that never moves and tells her he wants to be like that star, always by her side, never leaving. Years go by. Evolet blossoms into a beautiful young woman, and Dlé becomes a strong young man taking care of his younger brother, Baku. Through their conversation, we learn that today is the tribe's final hunt, and also the day they crown a new leader. Evolet pulls Dlé aside and tells him he should become the next leader. She warns him that Karin is also vying for the title and reminds him that whoever kills the first animal in the hunt wins her hand in marriage. Dlé believes it'll be him. Suddenly, Baku announces that a herd of mammoths has arrived. Comac, one of the elders, reminds the hunters, the one who brings down a mammoth gets the sacred white spear and becomes the next chief. With the hunt underway, Tik-Tik tries to scare off the herd leader, but the mammoths bolt. The hunters give chase. One mammoth gets trapped in a net, but it's too strong. It drags the net with it, and Dlé gets caught in it too. Eventually, the net snaps, and the mammoth escapes. Then, in a dramatic turn, the mammoth charges at Dlé. He grabs the spear, but it's stuck in the rocks. So he runs. The mammoth gives chase, and ends up impaling itself on the spear and collapsing on top of Dlé. The hunters rush over and pull Dlé out. They cheer his victory. Even Karin congratulates him and suggests they be friends. Since Dlé made the kill, the Great Mother gives him the white spear and declares that he'll marry Evolet. The tribe celebrates. They cook the mammoth meat, dance, and drink. But Dlé feels guilty. He knows the mammoth died by accident. He goes to Tik-Tik, confesses the truth, and returns the sacred spear, saying he doesn't deserve it. He just didn't want to lose Evolet. The next morning, the elder's prophecy comes true. The four-legged demons attack the Yagahl tribe. They capture the strongest people to enslave them and kill anyone who resists. Some villagers hide inside a hut and are forced to watch the Great Mother get killed right in front of them. Meanwhile, Dlé, asleep in the mountains, wakes up and sees the destruction. He rushes to help, but Tik-Tik stops him, saying they can't fight back now. The enemy's numbers are too great. Then we meet the attacker's leader, Warlord War. He sees Evolet and is immediately taken by her beauty. He decides to take her with him. The raiders ride off on horseback, dragging their captives behind them. Meanwhile, on the other side, the surviving members of the tribe begin gathering the scattered bodies. Dlé tells Karin he's going after the raiders. At first, Karn refuses and tries to stop him, but when he learns Tik-Tik is joining the mission, he changes his mind and agrees to go too. Before they depart, the village elder performs a sacred ritual to protect them on their journey. The three of them set out to rescue the captives. After traveling nearly 10 kilometers, they discover that Baku had been secretly following them the whole way. At first, Tik-Tik tells him to turn back, but after Baku insists he wants revenge for his mother's death, they let him come along. As they continue, they come across a patch of stones, signs that someone had once built a fire there. Not only that, but Dlé finds a bead from Evolet's necklace. It's clear now they're heading in the right direction. But then a heavy snowstorm blows in, covering the trail. The elder back home continues praying for guidance to help them stay on the right path. At the same time, one of the raiders notices Evolet deliberately dropping beads from her necklace to leave a trail. When she refuses to hand it over, the warlord strikes her hand, forcing her to drop it. Later, the hunters reach the edge of the forest and snowline. There, Dlé finds Evolet's necklace, this time stained with blood, and his fear for her grows. Suddenly, they see a flock of birds fleeing the forest. That's all the confirmation they need. The raiders went that way, so they head into the woods. Inside the forest, as the raiders make their way through thick foliage, a massive bird attacks. The warlord orders the captives to move faster. By nightfall, Dlé and the others reach the enemy camp. When one of the raiders starts harassing Evolet, Dlé steps in just in time, knocking the man out, freeing Evolet, and urging her to help the others. But the warlord arrives and gives chase. He captures Karin and another girl from the tribe, while the rest manage to escape. Suddenly, the mysterious bird strikes again, this time injuring Tik-Tik in the leg. Dlé and Evolet try to flee, but another bird appears. Dlé kills it with a sharp piece of bamboo. When he returns, he sees that the warlord has captured Evolet and Baku. He can't save them, not yet. So, he decides to help the wounded Tik-Tik first, building a makeshift stretcher to carry him. As they move, Tik-Tik groans in pain, so Dlé cauterizes the wound using fire to prevent infection. Later, Dlé hears Tik-Tik's stomach rumbling. He sets out to hunt for food but falls into a pit and is knocked unconscious. Rain begins to fall, slowly filling the hole. When Dlé comes to, he realizes he's not alone. There's a wild Sabertooth cat trapped with him. At first, Dlé considers killing it, but seeing it struggle, he has a change of heart. He frees the cat and pleads with it not to eat him since he just saved its life. To his surprise, the creature seems to understand, and instead of attacking, it pauses and walks away. Remembering that Tik-Tik is still injured and hungry, Dlé rushes back. He finds him awake again. Tik-Tik tells him he saw smoke beyond the hill and heard screams. Something's not right. They decide to check it out. They reach a small village that's just been attacked by the same raiders. Suddenly, the villagers surround them, ready to strike. But at that very moment, the Sabertooth cat appears, sending everyone into a panic. Yet they soon notice the cat isn't attacking. In fact, it seems to trust Dlé. The villagers take this as a sign and welcome them in, offering food and shelter. The village chief, Nikudu, speaks the Yagahl language. He explains he learned it from a man who looked a lot like Dlé. That man, it turns out, was Dlé's father. When asked about him, Nikudu shares that the raiders once came and took Dlé's father, along with Nikudu's own son. He then shows them cave drawings that depict a prophecy, one that speaks of a man who can talk to the Sabertooth, a chosen one who will lead a great war and free the people. They realize Dlé is that man. The next morning, a scout returns with news. Other villages have been attacked by the raiders. Tik-Tik convinces Nikudu to join forces. The villagers prepare to leave, saying goodbye to their loved ones. Dlé notices Nikudu is alone and learns that the raiders killed his wife and took his son, Tudu. Elsewhere, during the captives' march, Tudu begins bonding with Baku, and they become fast friends. When they stop to rest, one of the guards offers Baku water, but then slaps him. A fight nearly breaks out, and the guard almost kills Baku until the warlord steps in and stops him. The man backs down, but swears revenge. Back with Dlé, he sets out from the village with a small group of warriors, but is soon surprised when more tribes join their cause. They continue through the desert, finding another ravaged village. That tribe joins as well, determined to seek justice. At the lakeside, they discover the raiders have escaped by boat, taking the captives with them. The boats are too fast to chase. The warriors argue about what to do. One elder says the lake winds like a serpent through the sand, and the slaves will end up at its far end. The only way to catch them is through the desert. Dlé refuses to give up. He leads them into the desert, promising to find the destination point. They walk for days, but collapse from thirst. Dlé tells them to rest. That night, while stargazing, he realizes that the eye of the dragon from the prophecy is actually the North Star. He tells Tik-Tik they'll travel at night, guided by the star. Meanwhile, back home, the tribe's elder woman goes completely still, focusing all her energy on guiding Dlé and Evolet from afar. At last, the tribes reach the raiders' stronghold, the Mountain of the Gods, which is actually the Egyptian pyramids. By now, the captives have been there for days, forced to build monuments that will one day become a civilization. But that's not all. The raiders even had mammoths and treated them brutally, which enraged Paco, Tadu, and Karen. Just then, their infamous leader, known as the Tyrant, appeared. All the slaves dropped to their knees, believing he had supernatural powers. Furious at how slow the work was going, he ordered the priest to sacrifice one of the slaves as an example. Karen's friend was chosen. At this point, Dlé started to lose hope. He realized that uniting the tribes might not be enough to take the fight to the enemy. But Tik-Tik reminded him that if the slaves joined the cause, they'd outnumber the enemy, and no one could stop them then. That night, Dlé and Nakuda snuck into the slave quarters to check on everyone. There, Nakuda was reunited with his son. Dlé asked Paco if he knew where Evolet was. Paco told him that the women were being held in a separate building. Dlé apologized to Paco and Karen for what they had been through, but Karen assured him he believed in the prophecy and swore to follow him to the end. One of the slaves from another tribe objected to Dlé's presence, saying he would bring trouble and that no weapon could kill the tyrant. But Nakuda defended Dlé, saying he'd seen him speak to a saber-toothed tiger, that he had real power. Hearing this, the slaves took Dlé to a blind man hiding underground. He used to serve the tyrant, but escaped after learning his deepest fear, the hunter's mark, a symbol that looks like the brightest star in the sky. Only those who bear it can kill the tyrant. Before leaving, Dlé asked the old man about the bone bracelet he was wearing. The blind man told him Dlé's father had saved his life, but had died in the process. As Dlé and Nakuda returned to their camp, they were chased by 3 guards and discovered that an enemy army was advancing through the desert. Knowing those guards would alert the others at the pyramids, they had no choice but to confront them. Tik-Tik intercepted the guards, killed 2 of them, but was fatally stabbed by the 3rd. Before dying, he handed Dlé his sacred white spear. Elsewhere, Evolet was locked up when the warlord came to speak with her. But suddenly, priests and guards barged in and arrested him. One had framed him for stealing a slave. As the priests confiscated Evolet's sword, they noticed the hunter's mark on her hand and rushed to inform the high priest, who told the tyrant, sending him into a rage. Back with Dlé, though devastated by Tik-Tik's death, he grew more determined than ever. He spoke to the tribes and explained that if they could hunt mammoths together, they could fight side by side to defeat the tyrant. They began infiltrating the labor camps disguised as slaves. Meanwhile, Evolet and the warlord were brought before the tyrant, who accused the warlord of treason. As Dlé and Karen climbed the pyramid, they encountered the mammoth master and ordered Paco and Tadu to release the beasts. Once they did, Dlé signaled the attack. The slaves began fighting the guards, and Dlé used the chaos to intimidate the mammoth master into leading his herd into the enemy ranks, crushing the guards. Inspired by Dlé's courage, more slaves joined the rebellion. When the tyrant learned of the uprising, he ordered Evolet to be executed publicly to break their spirits. But when Dlé saw her, he told everyone to stop. Something strange happened. Everyone suddenly bowed as the tyrant stepped out of his palace. The tyrant offered Dlé a deal: take Evolet and his people back home and leave the rest. But Dlé refused and threw the white spear at the tyrant, killing him. Everyone was stunned. The mighty tyrant died easily, proving he was just a man, not a god. The slaves rose again, this time with renewed fury. Nakudu killed one with his spear during the battle. The warlord tried to escape with Evolet, but Dlé gave chase. During the struggle, Evolet stabbed the warlord in the stomach, causing them both to fall from the horse. She ran toward Dlé, but the warlord, not yet dead, shot an arrow into her back. The tribe's shaman felt her pain from afar, and Dlé, filled with rage, used the sacred spear to end the warlord once and for all. Evolet died, but the shaman, in a final act of sacrifice, gave her spirit to Evolet, bringing her back to life. After the battle ended, the tribes returned to their homes. Nakuda gifted Dlé rice and seeds so the Yagahl people wouldn't go hungry again. Finally, Dlé and the rescued tribes made it back to their village. When the winter passed, Evolet planted the seeds, and the tribe began a new life. Dlé became the new chief, the one the great elder had foretold. And that's the end of our movie recap. Stay tuned for more videos and breakdowns. Until next time.